At the mesa of a mountain, in the land of trickery, we find a forest. Withered trees of dull green and brown burn brightly to paint the scene as a thick smoke rolls outward and down the cliffside. A sad state for a forest, an even worse place for a hideout. Beyond the smoke, beyond the trees, beyond the illusions, we see a ruined forest teeming with danger, leading to a village brimming with chaos. As the organization responsible for monitoring magical anomalies and fighting back against the corruption of magic, the clan of Cauldareen is under attack. We see teams of agents returning to base via the teleportation circles on the outskirts of the village, right into a trap. Broken robotic sentries lay beneath the treetops of the deceiving forest, monitoring no longer, and we find the new recruits to the clan of Cauldareen hard at work, trying to survive.
Hello, I'm Myri. I play Brutus, the human paladin, Oathbreaker. We keep moving, no matter what.
Hello. My name is Grim Songbird, and I will be playing Hiccup, the wild magic lizard folk sorcerer with lycanthropy.
So this therapy thing, I should probably start taking that, right?
My name is Amelia Psalm, and I play Terek's niece, the drow blood hunter. And when we find him, I'm going to gut him like a fish.
Hi, I'm Ivy, and I play Ruby, the Fire Genasi Arcane Trickster Rogue. I can't fault you there, Terex.
Hi, I'm Abby. I will be playing Oops A Daisy, the Wild Magic Barbarian. And you look like you're gonna be a problem.
Last time on Cauldareen Chronicles, the leader of Cauldareen fell, and Team 10 took care to retrieve his body.
Can't leave him.
We won't.
Caught amongst the various dangers, the team split up to divide and conquer. A new mark appears on Terek's shoulder.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Brutus aids Anafe in laying her wife to rest.
I use Control Undead, and I order her to feel no pain.
Our Fire Genasi has a run-in with her axe-wielding father. Hey there, little gemstone. Don't worry, folks. It's nobody dangerous. Well, I mean, she's not going to kill you, but I mean, she could.
Does Mom know you have Jonah out?
Well, I mean, probably. Hiccup and Terror meet their mentor. My dear Hiccup, been through a lot, I see.
Yeah. It's been a rough 24 hours.
And Terror uncovers the last will and testament of Kagor, the leader of Cauldareen, and his proposed successor, Oops A Daisy. Oops descends the tunnels leading to Sharwin in search of her friend. As she slides down the tunnels, the glow of flame illuminates her descent, and as her feet hit the ground, the full scope of things sets in. Sharwin screams in agony as sigils blast beams of fire directly at the trunk of her tree.
Well, fuck.
And a man looks back at the book and says, "These are the next offenders of this land?" And a hooded figure said, "Shh, these are the Cauldareen Chronicles." But right now, Oops A Daisy, your feet touch ground. And as you look, the underground garden is ablaze. And you quickly saw that there were sigils blasting what looked like columns of flame at the center of Sharwin's tree. And everything in here is chaos. What do you do?
Are the sigils on something?
Make a perception check.
That's not gonna be great. That's gonna be not great. That's gonna be a 6.
Okay, so with a 6, it's not like you're not going to see. You had the thought to look, but just what the 6 is you drop in. It's hot. It's sweltering in here. It's not inhabitable. and everything is screaming, and all of the creatures that are brought to life by Sharwin's presence are collapsing, and you see a sigil near you as to why you are experiencing so much of this. You have landed pretty close to one, and it is just carved into the wall, and so it's sort of blocking your view of the others because a giant wall of flame is rushing from it straight at the tree, and that is what's the result of that. But it is like etched into the wall.
What if I smash it?
Whatever you'd like to do.
Can I swing my flail at it?
Yeah, go ahead. Make an attack roll for me.
12.
Okay. And so, yeah, you smash your flail into the stone wall here. And as it bites down, you see it crack part of the wall. And as you do, you watch it fix the crack on the seal.
Very frustrating. Not what I wanted. Okay.
What does Oops want to do in this instance?
Can I see where Sharwin is? Like Sharwin's body? I know that
Absolutely.
Sharwin is the tree, but like there is a body component.
Do you want to be right where you're standing, right next to the beam of flame, or would you like to move?
I would like to move away from it.
Okay. And so, yeah, the way you have dropped in, you are noticing that there is a V of flame basically heading towards the tree, and you sort of get the idea there was more coming from behind it, but your vision is sort of being bottlenecked towards the tree, so you can move away and kind of get in between the two of them to get the farthest away. And yes, make a perception check right now.
16.
Okay. And with a 16, Oops looks up, and you can see laying beneath the tree, somewhat engulfed by parts of the roots that seem to be holding her up. You can see her body being wrapped up slowly by her tree.
Okay. I'm gonna approach her. That's what I'm gonna do.
Okay. And as you step forward to try and approach, suddenly, several daggers come flying in your direction. And you start to hear a sound try to invade your mind. And suddenly you activate into a rage.
Ooh,
and you know magic. that means someone, and a wild magic triggers. Go ahead and roll that wild magic for your rage.
Hold on. I don't remember what dice that is. I have to pull it up.
I think it's a D8. Does a 13 or an 18 hit Oops?
The 18 hits.
Okay. And that will be for 7 damage as that dagger bites in. 7 piercing, but you did enter a rage. Yeah.
Oh. Well, more flowers and vines grow like just rapidly out of me. Like so around me the ground is
excellent. And so just
difficult terrain.
Perfect. And as you start to feel this and hear this music and it triggers your response, you look up and you see a figure now standing in front of Sharwin's body, looking at you. And you realize this is going to be trickier on your own. And that is where we're going to hop over real quick to our group who is upstairs. You are up on the main floor, and you are you're heading through Cauldareen. Brutus is leading, as was the comment from the very end of the last episode, that you all want to go see Sharwin. And Ter has said to you, I'll keep an eye on things here and manage. Someone should stay with him. And Ter is hanging back.
As we're leaving, can I do a quick scan around the camp for my father and Anaphae's family?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I just want to see if they've made
just a quick perception check, I guess.
Just a quick perception check. That's it. Please be decent. Oh, that's okay. That's a 15.
Okay, yeah. So you scan around, and it's kind of like A, you know who you're looking for, and B, that battle axe on his back is kind of easy to like see, and you do see your father like in the distance talking to some folks, and you can see who looks like your mother is standing next to him, and he's definitely like, yep, yeah.
So she didn't know that he got the axe. God. Okay, satisfied with that. I'm just gonna kind of pat Tara on the shoulder. Good luck. Got this. And I'll follow Brutus.
Yeah.
And you, go ahead.
I was gonna say Terex was like sitting reading those papers, and they're just gonna kind of glance up and see that people are moving, and just sort of like and kind of try and keep up while looking at the papers while following.
Certainly. And so, are you trying to read the papers right now?
Yeah, just like while we're walking.
Okay.
I think I'll just like keep an eye on Tara because I'll keep looking back to make sure she's walking.
Roll a perception check for me, Terex. This will just kind of determine how much of it you're kind of speed reading, basically.
A non-natural 20.
Okay, excellent. So yeah, you glance through the first page or two, and the first page or so is Kagor explaining to you that if you're reading this, some unfortunate instance has befallen him, and he's sorry that he didn't always have perhaps the right words, but he hopes that he had the right actions to show you that you were cared for and what he thought you could become. And that is kind of what you get. He kind of, for someone who's very succinct, he kind of babbles on for a page or two, actually trying to just say that.
Yeah. I kind of like take the papers and just put them in my bag and just like, wipe some tears and walk.
And we will make sure it's known there are more papers and more to read. But yeah, if you're putting it away after the first page or two, that's what you got.
Yeah, we'll deal with it later.
Cool. Okay, so yeah, where are y'all headed, Brutus?
So it was through Kagor's office, right? That was where that exit that she used came out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, we'll go there.
Okay. Yeah, so you make your way towards Kagor's office, the main hub, and at this point, most of the danger seems to have been well handled. In the distance, you can see the trio of the Oops clan that came to your aid. You can see them dashing across rooftops. You can see Anna Faye in the distance with a few archers scanning, and they're firing a few arrows at something. But it definitely feels like the cleanup is in process right now. And
Awesome.
you make your way through, without delay. And as you get there, you enter the main hall, and again, it is deserted except for two vine-like creatures that are writhing and falling apart on the floor.
Oh, they don't seem like a threat. Well, it's, but they're
Sharwins.
They're Sharwins.
Not a good sign, though.
This way, I think. So I'll head towards where I think that entrance came out into this office, because even if I don't know how to open it, I have a very large sword.
I have a very large sword. It doubles as a key.
So
It's
I'll
the
spend
master key.
approximately 5 seconds looking for how to open it, and if I don't, I'm just gonna tell the rest of the team like, it's here, we just have to break into it.
Okay. So yeah.
Once again, now you have the rogue with you that has thieves' tools. You don't have to just like start kicking it or
Perfect, great.
all that.
She's ready though. If the thieves' tools aren't working, I'm just like, I'm prepared. This thing is solid iron. Let's go.
Yeah, and so you get into Kagor's office, and you come in there, and there is a empty office with several different things on the shelves and unique little items. You've seen some of this stuff before, but perhaps this is the first time you've really taken in like Kagor's office. What is that like to walk into his office? Does it affect Brutus at all?
I think in this moment, not too much, because got something we have to do. And she was here before, because this is where we were looking at the map. So like pang of like guilt, but we gotta keep moving. So
What about Terex?
Just sort of like kind of like a catch in the throat. You know that like when you feel pain, you can kind of feel your heart almost tensing up, and just kind of taking it in slowly and sort of looking at everything with a bit more of a lingering glance.
And Brutus, you feel a sort of kind of catch in your heart when you walk in, but you push through it, and it makes sense to you. I mean, you know where you're at.
Yeah.
But you push through.
Yeah.
And as you come in, there is a stone floor beneath your feet. But
Okay.
this is where it was opened up and dropped.
Here. Somewhere here. Gotta be a way back through. Or a latch that can be broken.
That's not what I'm good at.
I'll start looking around.
I was gonna say maybe somebody who has an intelligence modifier that isn't -1 should
Alright.
make an
maybe
investigation.
maybe
All right,
plus
you can
7
all
to
make an
investigation.
investigation check.
Yeah, maybe +7 to
Okay.
investigation might be a good thing.
Investigation. This isn't about Fae Fiends or Undead, so that's a 19.
23.
So in all of the things in here, you do see a collection of things on Kagor's shelves. But one of the things that you see as you look around is back behind at his desk. There are several drawers, and in this instance, they are open. And as you open them up, there are several tokens inside of his drawer, and they have different symbols on each of them. But there is a very unique wooden token, and etched into it is a tree, and it is a tree like what you've seen before. But it says nothing on it, and it is simply a wooden disc with a tree etched into it.
I pick it up.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. I do so. I pick it up.
Yeah.
Do I, as I'm looking around, do I see like a place to like insert it or like place it into?
So with your investigation of 23, no, it doesn't. You glance around and there's no like place for it, and you look at all these different tokens and they're built the exact same way. They all just have different things on them, and the one with the tree, but you don't see a place for them per se.
Okay. Interesting.
Make an Arcana check for me.
Arcana? Am I good at that? I don't remember. It's a +1. It's been too long. That's a 14.
Okay. And so you've perhaps seen something like this through your mother's research and stuff. You still don't exactly know what this is, but you have seen spell tokens before.
Hold it up. Well, I found a spell token, but
May I make an Arcana check?
Yeah, sure.
I'll hold it out, like kind of like in everyone's view, like this is what it looks like, kind of thing.
Right. Well, I rolled a nat. Oh, is that? Yeah, no. That's a nat 1.
All right. So yeah, you have a
plus two
spell
is-
token in your hand with what looks like Sharwin's tree etched on it.
Oh, Terex, did you ever mention anything, or?
Does that look familiar? Can I try?
Yeah,
Roll.
go ahead. With advantage.
Is this Arcana, or is this like memory, like a history thing?
This would be history, but with advantage.
Non-natural 20 again!
Yes.
So in history, in memory of your cousin, you have known him to use spell tokens, and you've known him to, perhaps while out and about on, a journey with you, or when he came to speak to you, he would cast one down, and then something would happen. A particular memory of him meeting you out in the darkness and asking to speak with you, and throwing one down, and a bonfire just sprouted from where he cast it, and then sat down. And it was how your cousin got to do all sorts of magic that wasn't particularly in his wheelhouse.
So Kegel generally used these to like cast spells he wouldn't otherwise know. Kind of for showboating, I saw it.
But you do know he tossed them, and
Yeah,
they would
you
trigger.
just toss it.
Toss.
And you do. And do you toss it anywhere in particular?
Because
never mind.
So there's a place on the floor that looks.
It's where Brutus has said. It doesn't look like anything.
Okay, I'll toss it in the general direction of which Brutus indicated.
Yeah. And as you do, it strikes the ground, and then it crackles, and the wood separates, and it just sort of dissolves. But as it does, the ground opens up, and a large tunnel opens and descends, and you see before you a familiar tunnel, Brutus.
Right.
This is right.
Yes.
Okay.
Lead on.
I can't remember. Is this the one where we just like drop, or can we actually walk in this
It's
one?
a slide.
Let's go. Brutus does not say it that way. She looks very serious as she gets onto this slide.
There you go.
Okay.
There are no wee. It's just
Serious sliding.
serious
Okay.
sliding.
Serious business.
And you all do the same?
Yeah, we seriously slide down the step or slide down the like.
Okay.
Oh, God.
And you jump down as you prepare to take the journey to find out what has happened to Sharwin. And the slide going through this, it is pitch black. And then beneath you, you remember a dull green light. But you do not see that this time. As the heat wave starts picking up towards you as you descend, you can feel immense temperature rising, and you can see a reddish glow from beneath you. Do you do anything during your descent instinctively?
Yes. I would like to cast Ray of Frost as we get closer to tamper down some of the heat as we get into it.
Certainly. And Brutus or Terex, anything?
I'm gonna try and like cover my head with whatever I have to try and keep from breathing in the smoke as much
Okay.
as I can.
And Ruby.
Ruby's kind of familiar with this fire and this feeling, so she's not as affected. I think she's more focused on making sure everybody else is not burning up or anything else.
Okay. And
I think
excellent.
Brutus will just prepare to like, if we're going straight into fire, like that whole duck and roll thing as soon as she gets to the
Yes.
bottom, if necessary.
And so Hiccup zooming right past, casting a ray of frost ahead of you all, icing your entrance. As the ice hits the ground, it spreads out in a direction, giving you a safe spot to land, putting out a patch. As Terex and Brutus come descending down, Brutus tucking and rolling right over to the edge as Terex has covered her head to withstand the smoke and gets a view of the place. And dropping right behind all of you comes the leader of Team 10, Ruby. And a familiar heat wave sets over you as you know this place, and as you visibly see, is on fire. Now, all members make a perception check.
9.
I rolled 2 4s in a row. 4.
18.
17.
Ooh,
Okay,
here
so-
we go.
We have for Brutus and for Terex, you've dropped in and you've scanned the area quickly to assess the main danger that you sense, the fire. And that's immediately what you see because you have descended right next to a wall of fire. And you see it coming off of a sigil in the wall. But as you're not super familiar with down here, you've been here, that's really what sets in is this wasn't here last time. With a 17 and you said 19?
18.
18. With a
Yes,
17 and an 18, the two of you also, Hiccup and Ruby, look around. You follow the line of the flame, which leads to a tree. But more importantly, it leads to a human woman clashing with an old half-elf. And you now see Oops. Oops does a 22 hit.
Yeah, it does.
And this half elf swings at you and then turns and sees the others. Oops, what do you do?
I'm assuming that I will look the same way and see. Oh, nice of you to join.
Sorry, we had to find the slide.
You're welcome.
For what? What have you done yet?
And I need a wisdom save from the 4 who have just dropped in. From Brutus, Ruby, Hiccup, and Terex.
I'm gonna remember to add my modifier.
Yeah.
Yeah, that usually helps.
Last time I wasn't doing it all.
It's a D&D hack. If you want your rules to be better, you can add modifiers to
I
them.
was gonna say,
sorry.
I have been given inspiration from the chat by Rudolph
Okay.
Movo, and I'm going to use it for
Yay.
the wisdom save. And what is the modifier to add
It's
as well?
You get to add a D4, and it's a wisdom save. So if you have a wisdom,
Yeah, just
modifier.
what's the modifier from Brutus because Paladin?
I
Oh,
think my charisma modifier is +4, so you get a +4.
So do we all get a +4?
Yes.
everyone gets
Yeah,
a
we're all
+4 to
within
the
range
roll
of
because
her.
you're within range.
Oh,
of
that's
Brutus.
good.
14.
13.
17.
And
Mine's an
Bru-
11, but I feel the need to state that I've rolled 3 4s.
Oh my
You
god.
You might need to change dice.
Oh, so
I've
yikes.
rolled a different d20 every time.
Oh
Oh
no.
no.
And
But that is an
all
11 in
4
total
of
for
you
me.
feel a slightly familiar sensation as a song sets in, and you are paralyzed. And you've felt this before when you faced off against Abram, his ability to stop you dead in your tracks. And now that you look, that's all you can do. This half-elf fighting Oops is old, but also covered in vines and seems to be acting somewhat erratically. And that same song that you've heard in your head from Anna Faye and from Abram plays in your head. Oops. Make a perception check.
16.
You know exactly what just happened. And you know they are sitting ducks. What do you do?
Good golly.
Miss Molly.
You all need to relax. It's a thing with it's like Abram, you know? Did you figure that out yet?
Did you say this within reach of your opponent?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Try and hit me, you weirdo.
That's only a 13.
Yeah, that's
And
what
so
I
he
thought.
slashes as you dodge out of the way.
And it's like parry his blow.
So what did you tell them? What exactly are you saying to them?
I told them to relax
Okay.
as a start.
All players roll initiative.
Five.
18.
11.
It's really funny because 4 is actually like a sign of bad luck in like China.
Okay, so
6.
we had a 6 and 11 of 11. What'd you say, Terex?
18.
18, and then 5.
Yeah.
Okay, Myri, I'm gonna try and channel some good energy toward your rolls,
Thanks.
but it might end up giving bad energy to my rolls. So if you roll well and I roll like shit, I just need you to know I'm taking one for the team.
No,
Nope.
don't sacrifice
It's
yourself.
already
for
said.
me.
It's already
It's already
said.
done. It's out in the ether.
All right, you're up first. So, Terex, you have been told you need to relax. How do you translate that? What do you do?
Okay.
You feel the music playing in your head and you
Yeah.
cannot move.
I hear it and it stresses me out. And I'm just going to take a deep breath and try and clear my mind. I'm just staring into the fire and sort of just kind of losing myself a little bit in the flames, the way they flicker, and just focusing on that.
Okay. Make a wisdom save.
That's a 2.
For a moment, you feel like there was something to that. Like you felt yourself press against whatever this sensation is, but it's like it wasn't quite enough. Next up in the order. Oops, would you also roll initiative? I know where you're at.
Have advantage. It's gonna be a 19.
Okay, so actually, you get to go next.
I get to go next.
So you've got several beams right now. You have this half-elf that is fighting you directly, and you have 4 people behind you that cannot get past whatever's happened to them.
I am going to
Yeah, what's Hoops want to do in this moment?
I'm going to can I disengage from the half elf and move closer to whoever is closest to me?
They're in a group, but you can get to them.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, you disengage and you can run in that direction, and he seems to be utilizing his attention to hold them in place.
And as I'm running towards them, you need you need to think of like a dark memory, like the worst you've ever felt, and like relax into that. That's the joke. They're weirdos like that. Abram's line. That's the way you get out of it.
Next up that's your action to disengage and your movement. Do you want a bonus action anything, or is that
I think I do not have a bonus action to do right now.
okay. Hiccup, you are next in line, and you have just been told you need to think of your darkest moment in order to be free. You need to sink into those emotions. What do you do? What do you think of?
He hears this as he calms down and sees the fire around him. And he sees himself lying in the flames at the base of the Golfius tree, looking up at what he is now, watching himself throw himself into the fire, and just processing, finally, I fucking died.
And you feel your body quietly move through whatever this invisible wall that was in front of you. You just move. The music is still there, but it's just music. What do you do with your action?
With my action, I am. Let's see. Oh, there's fire everywhere.
Yeah, and at this point you can see the fire is moving in a V. It is striking the trunk of a tree. This half-elf is in front of it, and you see Sharwin's body being enveloped by the roots.
May I move towards Sharwin?
He is in the way, but yes, you can go that direction.
That's fine. It's fine that he's in the way, because I'm going to cast Ray of Frost to try to put out the flames that's by the roots of the tree, and if he gets caught and gets a little chilly, that is not my problem.
Go for it. Ray of Frost. Is that an attack roll, Ray?
I believe so. Let me just double check real quick. Yes, it is an attack roll.
Okay, make that attack roll.
May I please have a decent roll for this? I would like to save our beloved tree lady. Thank fucking God. That's a 23 to hit.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you cast it past and you seem to blast it in that direction. What are you aiming at?
I am aiming at as base of the flames as possible. I'm trying to put the fire out that's on Sharwin at the source.
Okay, and so yeah, with that twist of your hand, or however you cast your Ray of Frost, it just emanates out, and it begins to cool the flames around Sharwin, sort of encasing her in frost. But slowly it starts to melt as you realize that's not just flame. That is continual beams of fire ripping off of these sigils on the wall. And so you have held this down to put the actual caught on fire bits out, but her tree is still heavily under attack from those direct beams.
Cool. That's also 7 damage, 7 frost damage, just in case if you needed to know.
Excellent.
But that is also good to know.
Okay. Any bonus action?
Well, let's see. Is an action. Okay. This is a silly question, but for my bonus action, I'd like to analyze this person that's this half-elf person that is with us.
Yeah, you can make an investigation check real quick.
Thank you. Let me just double check. Investigation. Yeah, that's still a -1. Okay. I'm gonna just replace this D20 with another D20 because that is my second nat 1.
So yeah, with a 0, that is just an absolute. As you Ray of Frost past this thing. You don't even you look at this thing and you're just and you're just more focused on.
I'm more focused.
Sharwin.
Sharwin's my higher priority. I don't give a fuck about this guy. But if he starts bugging me, then he is gonna have a problem.
Okay, that takes us to Brutus.
Okay, so
You've just been told to think of your darkest moment and sink into that.
So I think for Brutus, it's not the moment where she killed Decius, but it's the bit afterwards where she was waiting in the barracks and taking off her armor and kind of gauging the injuries, and has the deep sense of knowing that she needs to go underneath the facility and find whatever thing is calling to her there, and that she'll probably either she or a lot of other people are gonna die as that.
And you start to have that thought and you sink into those feelings of knowing I just killed someone and I have to go to whatever this thing calling to me is. And your memories keep going as you think about carrying out that soul. and leaving that demigod stranded. And you knew the cascade of problems that would cause, but it was your only choice. And you want to run to the material plane to hide. Stay there. To run from it all. And you are now free to move.
Dope. I think we all know what I'm gonna do, which is I'm gonna stab this.
70 points of damage is what you're gonna do.
That's what we're
Exactly.
fucking aiming for.
Some paladin fuck shit.
All the smites.
Great weapon master, in case I wasn't clear.
Yeah.
Nat 20!
You're welcome.
Did they stutter?
That is
you.
where that needs to be.
That is- Okay, I actually
I
have a
knew it.
calculator out this time.
Okay. And are
We
you
do
adding-
doubling the dice, right?
Yeah.
Or do
So
we do-
however
yes.
however many dice you're rolling, double that number of dice.
Great. Obviously gonna add a divine smite onto this.
Cool. What level?
I think I'm gonna do second level. I would like this person to be gone.
Okay. So that is an additional 3d8 or 6.
That's an additional. So it's normally
It's 8.
2d8.
Right? Yeah. So now
So
it's
you do it then.
3d8.
So then it's 3d8. So it's
68.
68 in total. Everything. God, that's satisfying.
All right. And so you've got not only the 68, but you're going to have the 10 from Great Weapon Master,
Yeah.
and then your original 2d8, right?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just putting it all into my.
Ask again. Did they stutter?
You know what's coming.
So excited.
Math, paladin math. Paladin math. Gotta add up all the smites. Gotta add up all
61.
the damage.
Ooh, close. to
61 with a nat 20. And
Yes.
yeah, you slash at this creature, and a serious cut cuts through, and you take off an arm.
Oops would like to shout, that's a guardian, by the way.
I don't know what that means.
That's
And yeah, you
he's protecting
slash through.
Sharwin.
Okay. Well, Bruce
Not
is
anymore, he's not.
Yeah,
Like-
you hack that arm right off, and you dig deep into the side, and you pull your blade back, and his eyes turn from the rest of the group to meet you eye to eye.
So Brutus is just gonna like yell to Oops. She's like, so kill, not kill is fine. Well, you were fighting it.
I ran away to be accurate about the situation. No, would Oops know who this person is? Like Oops
Yeah,
would know
you
who
would
this is, right? So
recognize-
that's Silo. He's one of the guardians. You know, like the old me's that we saw earlier that aren't me but are like my ancestor. That he's one of those. He's protecting Sharwin, who obviously not great right now. She probably can't control him right because she's on fire. We should do
that
something
case-
about the fire.
I don't have anything I can do about the fire.
I don't either. No,
I'm
it's
bad
fine.
at that. So in that case, my second attack will be just an attempt at incapacitation. Like maybe if I can like pin them to the ground or something with my
Yeah.
sword.
Yeah, you can make a. We'll go basically call it a grapple. So this will be an athletics.
Cool. Does an 18 do it?
I will roll to contest. Oh god, that's a nat 20.
No!
And so you go to like pin them down, and having seen the ferocity of that, the chest opens up a bit as you pierce right through, but have not made contact at all as you try to pierce them.
Wicked.
And again, with with missing an arm and looking at you with a hole in the chest. Oops, you get a familiar sight as Abram often played with, as his disguised character would be missing an arm, Maroba. And so in this instance, it is now over to. Wait, are you going to do any bonus action?
No.
Okay. Now over to Ruby. What do you think?
So hearing the little, you have to go into your darkest moment. Ruby seeing the flames, kind of watching them, will slowly sink into the moment where she stood with her dead party members all around her, unable to heal them. And the only thing she could do was desperately hide the bodies off to one side and dragging them. And I think she will sink back into the remembrance of carrying their weight, just dead weight in her arms as she was frantically trying to get them out of the line of fire. And just the thoughts and the flames that were surrounding her at that moment.
Yeah, and you feel that, and you sink down into that survivor's guilt, and your body too becomes free. What do?
Hearing the little exchange that this is a guardian that just can't control themselves, and seeing Brutus engaged in combat as well as trying to grapple them, I'm going to let Brutus handle that situation and turn my attention to the runes. Which is the closest to me?
So yeah, there's a rune to the right of you. Absolutely.
Cool. I would like to go up and, if I can get there with my movement, of course, and focus my attention on that. Cool. It seems to be spouting fire, basically like a beam of fire.
Yeah, give me an Arcana check.
Yeah, okay. That's okay. It's not great. That's a 14.
Okay.
Yeah,
14. So with a 14, you can tell that this is the thing that it is creating essentially a wall of fire spell that is directly heading at the other. But there are other bits written around it that are glowing. And as you look around, you can see there are others in this room. And with an Arcana of, you said 14?
Yes, sir.
So you have a feeling those have something to do with one another.
Okay. Can I see if they are etched into the wall, if this is drawn in blood or paint, or how is this
it's
actually
done? This has been done in blood.
done? Interesting.
But whatever they
Gross.
are now is just burning bright light, and it's coming. But you can see that they were originally done in blood.
Written in blood. Okay. Okay, cool.
With Terex.
I was like, damn it, Terex. As I move closer, is the rune itself hot?
The rune itself, no, but if you were to, like, in order to touch it, there's basically the flame is coming right from it.
Right. Right.
So, yeah.
Can I attempt to smear it anyways?
Yeah. What are you going to use for that?
I'm literally just going to like spit in my hand and rub it and see if I can just smear the blood enough to get it to stop.
Sure. Yeah. And you do that, and you make a swipe at it, and make a dexterity saving throw.
Okay. So it is fire, which I have resistance to. I don't know if that matters. Okay, well, that's, let's see, dexterity. Oh, okay, I'll get it dexterity. Never mind. That's a 16.
Okay, yeah.
Also, you add 4 if you're.
Oh, that's right. So unnatural 20 if I'm in range of Brutus.
Yeah, and so as you smear that, you try to smear it, and then there is a bolt of flame that hurls off one of the other sigils and comes smashing in your direction, which you notice in time, and you move as it smashes into the sigil, and that smear is undone.
Okay.
And at this moment, you get an idea that one is not enough.
Cool. With my perception check, did I see how many runes are also in the room?
Your perception check was,
I think 14.
that was your
sorry, that was Arcana. Arcana.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you've used your action. I let Hiccup use a bonus action for a check. I would allow you a check if you want to do that with your last part.
I would like to, with my last bonus action, roll a check to see how many are in the room.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry, that fell off the table. Okay. Perception. So 16. 15 plus
Okay.
1.
So, with a 16, and mainly focusing on this, you can see that there are 2 here, and it looks like there are 2 beams hitting from the back of the tree.
The total of 4.
Total of 4.
Okay. I'm going to just shuffle that. There's 4 of the runes. We've got to do that at the same time. And I will end my turn.
Okay. That brings us to the top of the order, over first to Terex, who is still frozen, and you were told to think of your darkest moment, and all of your teammates you have seen move, having given that instruction.
Okay. I'm just gonna take a deep breath and try to remember something that I generally want to forget. Not like the moment when both of my short swords just eviscerated the paid guard, but the aftermath, when Keese's body was just on the ground and Terex ran.
And you remember that running and that pounding and that deep regret, and you remember where it led you. And Brutus, you remember this feeling, this having killed Peace in the body on the floor and running, and you see it in your mind, and you remember what happened that led to being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and eventually making a call to someone who you knew was in the clan of Cauldareen, because you know about Cauldareen, and Hagor showing up because you called him. And Terex, you can move now.
Cool. So I have my full turn?
Full turn.
Okay. I'm going to try and get an angle behind the tree. So is it that the beams all need to be hit at the same time, or they all need to be hit?
So what Ruby has understood is she was able to scratch the sigil, and interrupting a sigil should do a thing, but they seem to be protecting each other. And so she has said that all 4 sigils themselves need to be adjusted. To give you guys just the visual of what's going on, there's a tree in the center. Mm-hmm. There are 4 corners like a box that are shooting the diagonals of a circular column of flame, basically.
Would I think that an Eldritch Blast could destroy this sigil or no?
There's no reason not to try.
Okay. In that case, I'm going to start kind of running around the perimeter to try and get to the back end of the tree.
Yeah, and so in order to do that, you'd have to crawl under one of the beams of flame.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
I do so, and I'm going to fire Eldritch Blast at both of the back sigils to see what happens.
Make your attack rolls.
That is a 10 and a 16.
Okay, yeah. And they both strike home, and as they blast, you see a little bit of a glitch in the back beams, and then again, motes of flame hurl over from the front too and connect that box. They seem to move on a parallel, and immediately those flames kick back on, and Sharwin screams.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. I think that's all I do with this turn.
Okay. Oops. Back to your turn.
Oops is going to, having heard what Ruby said, make her way to one of the sigils towards the back of the room and ready her weapon and hold an action for when anyone else is going to hit a sigil to
at the same time,
wail. And
so Oops hurls underneath one of the beams of flame, rushes up and sets up, and you've got your flail, or
probably still my flail. Yeah.
All right. So you got the flail ready to dig into the earth, and that bumps from your turn over to Silo's turn. And Silo, seeing that the music is no longer affecting, goes to move forward. And with Brutus in the way there, Silo looks up and with the other hand draws a weapon and goes to smash it against you, but rolls a natural 1. and as he carves at you, there's a pulse in his arm as all of the vines sort of fade apart, and he is falling apart.
I'm gonna use, so I know my thing lets me do an attack if somebody misses me by a certain amount. Could I continue to do like a grapple thing and just keep him?
Sure, I'll give you, because basically what that thing does is it lets you sidestep them,
Yeah.
and means you have advantage on the next attack.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
yeah,
because he
never
nat
mind.
one, you will for sure have advantage on the next thing
On
you
the
do
next
to him.
thing. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, and that is the end of his turn, which bumps us right over to after him goes over to Hiccup.
I would like to go to one of the sigils and hold a ray of frost until we all hit it at the same time.
Okay, yeah, you hold a ray of frost ready to go, and that is your move. Brings us to Brutus.
Yeah, I will go ahead and do my sidestep and try again to
Grapple.
contain this.
All right, so
guardian.
a contested athletics, but you have advantage. He got a 14.
I got well above a 20.
Yeah, you're good. So how do you pin him?
I think I'm just gonna sidestep, loop the flat of the blade around. This is why Brutus wears very thick gloves, so she can grab the blade and just like pull it in. So
Pull him.
he's just
Okay, yeah, and you've got a hold of him.
Yep.
Okay, and then that jumps us over to any bonus action?
No.
Ivy.
All right, Ruby is going to look around, see how many sigils are left.
Yeah, so there are 2 that are not being prepped because one is Ray of Frost right now waiting from Hiccup, and one is Oops at 1. But there are 2 that don't have anyone targeting them.
Ruby's going to take the one that she had smeared.
Right next to, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And also hold an action for the last, for her to see the last person and be able to shout out, "Go."
Okay. And that brings us to the top of the order to Terex.
Okay, I am holding an Eldritch Blast for whichever ones need to be covered.
Yeah.
Waiting for Ruby's signal. And I make eye contact with Ruby if I can see her.
And speaking as a free action.
On 3. 3. Or sorry, 1, 2, 3. And Ruby will smear at the same time.
As you smear, Oops with their flail smashes into the wall. Hiccup releases a ray of frost, and the blood that was used to be drawn starts to chill and then freeze and then crack. And 2 separate blasts of Eldritch Blast come radiating out of Terex as they collide, and a solid impact is made into the wall as the sigil cracks. And a beam comes off of it trying to reach the other as it leaves the where you smeared, trying to get to Oops's, but then that one crumbles. Then the ray of frost crumbles, and the final one crumbles. And with a blink, the flames from the walls vanish out, and the only fire left in here, what is actively being burned from the fire that caught.
I'm gonna ray of the frost the fuck out of that shit.
You're no longer in combat per se, but
I'm debating on whether or not Oops learned your names. Magic Lizard.
You, who is
Well,
currently
actually,
in
right
his
now, a
hybrid
werewolf.
wolf form. I'm currently a big dog.
Wolf situation. That we'll talk about that later. Can you take care of the fire?
Yeah.
Sharwin is over there.
I know where she is. And he says in an unusually calm manner. And then he's gonna continue with extinguishing the flames with Ray of Frost.
excellent. Yeah, and so Hiccup heads off to do that. And so, Oops, you've sent Hiccup off to do that. Is there anything else you're doing?
I guess maybe like investigating the scene if there's any like.
Yeah, go ahead and make an investigation check. And now that you're at a battle, you're good to go.
Investigation +1, not natural 20.
Okay. And yeah, so you said, hey, go take care of the flames. Sharwin's over there. And you're looking around at the scene. And you can see that these were definitely aimed at the tree. And you know that tree is Sharwin. The body she walks around in is essentially an extension of her at this point. Her soul, her energy is the tree. And so theoretically, you figure this was Abram or someone with him that set this up down here. And it was very clever. You couldn't have done it on your own. You would have needed multiple people to put this out. And he wanted her out of commission or dead for some reason. And this was very, very tactical down here. Like this feels like a target.
Oops is gonna relay this information to Ruby specifically. And is just kind of going to comment on the scene that this was definitely Abram. This was definitely planned. That's it.
Okay. And from there, it is actually Hiccup. You're off doing your thing right now. As you're icing those out, is there anything in particular you want to do, or just kind of make sure that you handle that situation first?
He's going to focus on handling the situation to make sure Sharwin is no longer in danger. And as he's, instead of channeling it out of his mouth this time, it's so weird to see like the tips of his fur just gets hinted with frost, like a winter morning dew.
Yeah.
As the rays of frost come out of his hands, his focus that's glowing, that's around his neck. And as he's like moving around getting the fires, he's just saying quietly that only Sharwin can hear, "It's okay, baby, I got you."
And excellent, as you're placing these out, and you've got no problem with that, with the ray of frost, and this is just regular fire at this point.
Yep.
So, Brutus, you have Silo held. Is there anything in particular you want to do? Like you can tell he's still like fighting against it, but you have him handily.
I'll keep hold of him so that way, because I don't really have anything that's helpful for putting out fire.
Mhm.
So just make sure that people are not like getting attacked as they're trying to help.
Go ahead.
And she will shout out to everyone else, just like, I can try to heal the damage as soon as the fire's out.
Okay. And from up above, you hear a noise, and then you see someone slide out from the hole that you used to get down here. And an older woman wrapped in vines with what looks like green but also white long hair and a giant battle axe stands up. And it looks like one of the guardians that fought up above. This is the oldest among them. And he walks forward towards you, Brutus. And she calmly walks. And she reaches out and places a hand on the shoulder of the guardian you have held. And he looks up and makes eye contact with her. And then looks down. And closes his eyes. And begins to fall apart in your hands. And seems to meld slowly into the ground. And this being in front of you, she says nothing. You're not sure if she can.
Up with that.
And she simply holds the battle axe over her shoulder and continues to let you do what you're doing. And so after Brutus is Ruby. What do you do?
I think taking into mind that Oops had mentioned that this looked very tactical. I think Ruby will put that in the back of her mind. And I want to I think Ruby will walk around the room and survey the rest of the runes to make sure they are completely scratched out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And do so. So she also doesn't have anything that can help. She's kind of made of fire. I can't do much.
Yeah.
Grabs, oh shit!
Oh damn! Sorry, I added to the flames. No, I think she will walk around
And
noticing.
make sure to carve those out.
Yeah, to maybe even taking her arm blade and scratching out the entirety of where they were, just in case.
Yeah, for sure. You go around and absolutely it's out.
Before she does, like, if there's any blood left, can I look at the blood to kind of see, like, is there anything strange about it? Like, is there any thing I could investigate with the blood that was used specifically, or does it just look like blood to me?
I mean, you can make an investigation check either way.
Okay, I'd like to do that just as a general.
Yeah, you want to investigate the sigil and the blood and see what's going on here.
Is my turn coming up right after Ruby?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Can I go ahead and investigate with her? Because I was also going to look at the blood sigils and things.
Yeah.
Sure.
So that is a 17 for Ruby.
Okay.
Doesn't have anything to do with Fae, Fiend, or Undead, does it?
It does.
Love to see it. Gasp. I dropped a natural 1, so that is 17.
Oh, so okay, cool.
All right, so yeah, you both gain with a 17. So here's how we'll resolve this is, so for Ruby, you're looking things over, just trying to understand like magic and science side of stuff. It's definitely in your blood, it's in your nature, especially as, you know, arcane trickster style rogue. And this is old magic. You know, it's a style of sigil that you understand, but you like, it's not a common sort of thing. But it's also why it took a second to recognize that it was a linked sigil to 4 others. So modern day, you could make a quick one of these with not needing all the components that went into this, but it would be a single one that could be shut down probably. So yeah, you understand that this is old. And with your looking into it, Terex, specifically focusing on the undead part of things, you know that you were dealing with a vampire and several undead type creatures. And as you're looking this over, you can see that a bit of necrotic energy was sort of etched into some of this. While it was fire, you are seeing some of the signs and some of the markings of necrotic magic. And you're feeling that fire might be more than it appeared to be.
Necromancy.
Or at the very least, yeah, definitely damaging to such.
Yeah.
Once I'm satisfied that Terex is also satisfied looking, I'll kind of look. I etch it out now.
Go for it.
I'll do so with just kind of scraping an arm blade, like quickly rubbing out everything else.
And as that's
being any trace of it.
As that's being done, is there anything on your like official turn you'd like to do? I know you did your investigation. Is there anything else with that info you want to do, Terex? Because Ruby's off sketching out everything.
Yeah, I guess I'm just trying to sort of look around because I spent a lot of my time sort of tracking after dangerous people and see what other things I can learn from this area, or if any of this is like familiar or sketchy.
Yeah, the fire did a pretty good job of making that hard to discern. The only real thing that was left was the glyphs.
Okay.
So yeah. Okay, so now you are out of combat and you are officially able to act freely, all of you. And Hiccup at this point has mainly cooled everything. And what would anybody like to do?
I dump all of my healing.
Okay, you're gonna try and heal the tree?
Yeah. I have 30 points of lay on hand.
Okay. So, yeah, you can go ahead and you can dump You can dump that. Now, hold on just a moment. Let me confirm something on this. What is your lay on hands? Is that just like healing energy?
Yeah, pool of healing power that can restore 35 HP per long rest. You can touch a creature to restore any number of HP remaining in the pool. And 5 or more like cures a disease or neutralizes or 5 HP to either cure a disease or neutralize a poison affecting the creature.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, you can for sure go ahead and just do that.
Cool.
And yeah, you dump that into the plant, the tree's base, and you see veins of sort of light run through down into the roots, and there is just sort of a light pulsing that happens throughout the area, but you have a feeling there was a lot of damage done.
Yeah. Do what I can.
Absolutely. And so yeah, you've definitely added what we would consider stabilizing health in.
Okay, cool.
But Sharwin, the body is sort of being cocooned by the roots, and it is unresponsive. But the tree itself is not dead.
I've done what I can do here.
We all did. Point. She just needs to recover.
We need to find our healers, and Oops, I assume knows who is like has that power like within the clan.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
you
Oops
would
is
know
just gonna,
everybody.
like, go get them.
I'm gonna let that be resolved, and Hiccup is going to look to Ruby and say, I'm gonna check and see what else needs done.
Are you in a mental state to do so?
No. But
Are
I
you
don't
going
think
to
anybody
anyways?
else is.
Actually, I'm behind Ruby on this one. Let's take a moment.
Just a quick breather. So I ask, and then I will let you leave. That was a lot.
Also, we might collapse at any moment. We don't know what the effects are when this spell that's on us wears off.
Everybody roll an intelligence check.
Ooh,
Even me?
it's stressful.
Yes.
Is it
Just
just
a
a regular intelligence
Oops
check?
with advantage. Yes, just a
Oops
regular
with
intelligence.
21.
Advantage.
Well, aren't you just so smart?
Natural 20. So also a 21.
Ooh,
Okay.
look at you guys.
Mine's a
13. I
Okay.
am okay.
I got a 16.
Brutus, you just said that and you didn't pay it any mind. You're just like, no, the rules are that we might collapse soon. But since you said it, everyone else took a moment to think about that. And Hiccup is like, yeah, I guess it's about time. And that's just kind of all you think about it. It's like, oh, yeah, he said we had a little bit of time on this borrowed power. Ruby, you're thinking about it and you're like, yeah, we must be really close to that time. Like, and you start to wonder, like, what does that entail? Oops, you've seen Genji do this before in a pinch. You've perhaps been on a mission with him and this has had to be done. But it does take a toll when it hits. Otherwise, it takes a toll on Genji, and because he needs that basically back. And there were so many people that were granted this boost. This group was not it. Like, Genji backed everyone who he could get his hands on, and it is well past the time limit.
Shit.
And Terex, you're 21. Without knowing Genji personally, as far as magic is concerned, and whatever he did to like give you guys this ability, that's got to take a lot out of somebody. And he said 1 to 2 hours. It's been about 4 or 5. You guys have been at this for a while, and you do not feel the come down.
Yeah, I kind of like look around and see if anyone else has noticed, and I maybe see that Oops is like, fuck.
Ruby's kind of just like squinting, like her brows are furrowed, like she's thinking about like slowly putting together the pieces.
Yeah, I think we should take a break. Oops, I assume you need to go run things.
Yeah, I need to go find the healers.
Yeah.
I guess I should also maybe go check on Genji at this rate.
Yeah, probably. Assuming he's not dead, is he?
I don't know.
Well,
this has never happened before.
That's not a good sign.
Isn't it kind of your
was
job
any
now
of this
to like
a good sign?
handle all this stuff now?
She
What do you mean my job?
there for that. I'm as a player trying to remember, did we all hear that like Oops, or no, it was just
Oops went to Sharwin.
Oops went to
was
Sharwin.
not there.
But
I don't think,
or is it just
did we not know?
No.
I think Ter knew. He definitely gave you the papers. He might have said that the ones he had were for various people. And I think what we can say is that we'll just say that perhaps you didn't know. And
by processes of elimination, it wasn't you.
Yeah. So with this instance, you wouldn't necessarily know.
Okay.
But that's okay.
Pretty much. It's been 3 weeks.
Yeah. But
Just
are you
fix
opting
that.
to kind of regroup and take this break?
Yeah, we're gonna take a break.
And so doing so, I assume you're all heading out of here, like Oops is saying, to like get the healers and.
I think Ruby will turn to Oops. What do you want us to do?
Terex is just walking out.
That's fine. Ruby will not stop you.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that you would have had to walk to catch up with Oops, who would have also just been like headed to do the thing.
Cool. So I guess we're going with Oops. I guess we're breaking, but
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Ruby will take a moment to hang back with Hiccup. Are you okay to go on? Fully recognizing that she has not seen Hiccup in this kind of calm, strange to her demeanor before.
I don't know.
She'll put out her arms.
It
Do you
just
want a hug? I don't do this often, but if you need it.
and he shifts his form back into his regular scaly self. And he just looks at her with misty eyes and says, I just want this all to stop.
Gotta push through first and then we'll get there.
Yeah. And he just gently like hugs her.
I'll put her arms around him, kind of pat his shoulder. She's small compared to Hiccup.
He's a big boy.
She is very small, so she just kind of like pats and then she'll release. The fight's not over yet.
I know.
So hold on.
Fires to put up.
Hold on for just a little longer. Okay. Let's go.
Okay.
And I think she'll just kind of pat him on the shoulder very gently and continue on.
Yeah. Poor boy is still. Yeah.
And Ruby recognizes that and doesn't expect him to be better, but she wants him to know that at least she's recognizing that.
Yeah.
And as you make your way out, you find yourselves regrouping with everyone at the evacuation point. You touch base with Terex. You touch base with Ter, who is waiting for you there. And at that point, Genji is found to be in a coma. And Genji will not release the energy he has granted everyone. And it has placed him in a stasis. And Anafe gets you up on the details that most of the archers have regrouped, and they're out looking for survivors at the moment, but they have neutralized every visible threat. They're making sweeps of every building right now to confirm none are still hiding. They're sending magic sentries along with folks headed up by your mother, Ruby, to look for any other sigils of the type that were described or anything of the sort, any other traps or anything. They are dispelling magic in quadrants at a time to basically nullify any traps or hidden...
Take inventory of supplies.
Yeah, and they are talking with Mac as Mac is digging through everything and trying to keep track of what is and isn't here. And at this point is when they bring you the notes that they have actually taken from the possession of Tear. And they bring you the information from Akita. She approaches you, Oops, and she hands you a stack of papers from Kagor with a daisy on the front. Says, "It seems you're calling the shots now." And she sheaths her sword. "So, what are your orders?" And without even needing to look, you understand what that stack of papers means. There's sure formalities in there, but you know.
Paperwork.
You left me with the paperwork. Bastard.
And Hakita kind of cocks a little bit of a grin.
And Oops is like smiling, but also like now visibly holding back tears, but is like, we need to know who is... We need to know everybody's status. Who is unaccounted for is probably who we are most interested in. Those who are not dead or alive. The ones who are missing, if there are any. We need to rally. We need to figure out... God, there's so much... Kagor, I am so mad. We need to rally, and we need to figure out how badly our situation has been compromised, and we need to find Abram. We need to do that first.
And at that moment, Terex, you have a thought occur to you that you might have a way to do that. And you check in with that. And it no longer pings. And that's what they spend the next week doing. Collecting the dead, digging through buildings, scanning for traps, keeping a roster of who they found and are accounted for. And there is still more to find, but they do acknowledge there is a larger list of missing than what they assume they're going to find. And they are curious as to what that means. Yeah, go ahead.
Brutus would also bring up that we should check in on the conclusion of the missions that were happening leading into this. There could have been more meteor swarms or other things. We might have people missing in other cities.
And as you dig through, there are in fact missions that were not completed, as the traps set for them did overcome them or did claim masses in the cities they were sent to. And Ruby?
I want to know about our boy Jarvis, and I think that Ruby would look into that.
And throughout the week, Ruby sends someone to kind of get more information on that. And you learn something startling. As Oops is able to describe to you, and so can Anafe, the lasting sounds of that music that they have is an area of effect. As long as they can see you, they can get you. But Jarvis seemed to be suffering from it well outside of range. And so the Abram they knew may have advanced the family's ability. And you find your apartment shattered, building decimated by corpse of a giant that lays hunched against it, dead on its feet, propped up by the structure itself. Half of the building is collapsed. Your mentor, Salros Spark, makes his way to the evacuation area and gets a moment to check in with Hiccup and Tear. And he's overjoyed to see you and tells you the tales of Team 7 coming to his aid as he got the message to look for this place, and he found it hidden amongst illusions in the land of nature. But he was attacked, and had they not come to get him, they'd hung him up for bait. Luckily, Team 7 was able to handle that, and they got through, and they saved him. And later, you encounter Team 7, and they ask you questions about Hollow, the Kenku, and if he completed his mission well.
Ruby would tell them that he completed it to the very best of his abilities, and that he was successful, and that they only survived because of him.
And Sir Galeth nods, and his feathers hang a little low, but he moves on. And
This will be the one time that we're not going to be an asshole to him.
The one.
One
He gets one.
Get one.
Yes, the one.
Get
the
one.
one. This is his one. He gets this one. But as Sparks has been telling the stories and stuff like that, Hiccup has been listening and receiving the information, but he is just emotionally barely present. Pretty numb. But he does look, with what he can muster, relieved that he is okay. And he appreciates learning how he's still here, and just kind of keeps that in the back of his mind. But he is just not entirely here.
Absolutely. The trauma and the effects of everything setting in. And over the course of the week, you find that your energy does not deplete. You find that you rest and you wake up as energized and refreshed as you were. And through several check-ins, at no point does Genji wake up, but no one who was granted power has had a crash. It seems all members of Cauldareen who are remaining that stayed alive have been boosted. And Brutus was going to say something, and then I think Terex.
I was gonna grab a moment with Ruby if we've got time tonight. Right, I know.
Yeah, what was that moment?
Yeah. Brutus just at some point during all of this, as we're like doing stuff, will just like
Catch Ruby in the middle of writing a report.
yeah, just like that looks boring.
It is. It's so tedious. It's so boring. She'll set down the pen.
So, I see what you're doing. This leader thing, making sure everyone's okay. But in this moment, your home that you grew up in was basically destroyed, and your family, essentially. A lot of them are dead. Terex is too. Hiccup died, came back a werewolf. Tara's best friend, Hiccup, died. So, I'm the only one here who, I didn't lose anything. Not in, it was a bad day, but not in the lineup of my worst days. So what I'm saying is, you can lean on me. you need things done. I'm all right. And I can do them, so you don't need me on your list of things to worry about, right?
I think Ruby will rise from whatever desk or makeshift place that she's taken up to write these reports that she so venomously hates. And Brutus, you're part of my team. Of course I'm going to worry about you, even if you're fine.
Well, that's appreciated, but
No. Part of my job.
Well, it's mine to worry about you. So, and you don't have to do these. You could say they burned.
I could.
You could just throw them.
You're right. You're right. I kind of want the written record, though. Nobody will know if
No one will know.
I'll just slack a little.
How would they know?
How would they know?
They're gonna know.
They're gonna know. I don't want Oops coming after me about this. Like, it's one more thing on her. Like,
She
their
will
play.
not
I just
care.
You're right, but like, I'm not going to give her the opportunity.
And we hand it Oops, who is working away, and everyone is checking in, and the leaders who are left, without question, recognize you as the successor, and they immediately begin to form up the new ranks that you assign them, and the plans that you set forth. And in going through all of that, they make sure to get briefings on everything that they can, and one of which is Eric's and Team 10 briefing you on everything that they recall from the moment that Kagor died. And they tell you about, first, Sarah was warped out. She bit that guy and then just was pulled through a portal, and then he stabbed Kagor through the chest, and then Kagor seemed to utilize some move, some special access of a spell, which you would be familiar with, as he's never had to use it, but you are aware he could channel his soul as energy. But you know that at that cost, resurrection wouldn't work because there's no soul to bring back. But that is what Team 10 is in your office at this very moment on this particular day, giving their account. You gave them several days to kind of wait that off and deal with more pressing matters at the exact moment, but it was time to hear that, and it was time to formulate a plan.
Who dumps the papers that they just like verbally narrated on the desk? Just, there's the report. I finished it. Kind of looking up, making eye contact with Brutus. There, I did it.
She just shakes her
Oops is gonna kind of tidy the stack and like pick it up.
Sorry,
and drop it on
really long.
the huge stack that is definitely on her desk.
Ruby just looks like off in the distance, like, why? Why did I do this to myself?
See?
Why'd you do this to poor Oops?
You're gonna need a PA.
Kagor has some interesting ideas about the importance of paperwork. I have some interesting ideas about delegation. But that's not important right now. Terex, how much did you know about your cousin and the mark that you have now?
I mean, I have an idea.
Well, you know about Sarah, right? You know what Sarah is now.
Yeah. Well, I've always known, family, it's a family thing.
But do you know? Player question.
Yeah, she
Player
would
question.
know that it's a Cerberus, but she wouldn't know what she wouldn't know about the ability.
I'm trying to remember that Terex heard Sarah howl, right?
Yeah.
Like,
So did Brutus.
And actually,
so does Terex
on
understand?
occasion, Terex and Brutus throughout this last week, you have heard it from time to time again. It comes to you in a dream at this point while you're sleeping. The first time you were awake for it and you were there, but now throughout the week as you've rested, you've gotten great rest, but there is this howl that you hear. It doesn't wake you up. You just, when you wake up, you recall hearing that howl.
Yeah. And did Kagor, by now I've read the pile of papers that Kagor left for me. Did it say anything about that?
Kagor did mention in his paperwork, this is what you're asking, right? Oops.
Yeah, I'm asking if Terex understands that Sarah is theirs now.
So Kagor says that Sarah can be passed on if she so chooses. And that is a thing that he explains in that, but he doesn't necessarily say that like it goes to anyone in particular in those notes that he left you, Terex. And he does explain a little bit more in detail about his pact with her. And that while you know it's the family dog and has always kind of been like the dog he found when he was walking through and battling in the gates of hell,
as you do,
it was a bit more to the story. And with that, though, he says, I can't really say much about it, but Sarah was the source of his powers, or the source of his amplification. He's very unique for a hellhound, or Cerberus.
Okay.
And so that's what you would know going into this conversation.
I mean, I know what I know. What do you know?
So much. But you all need to find Abram. And you said Sarah bit him?
Yeah. I do know that she can track people when she bites them, right?
Yeah, and so this would be a good. Go ahead.
Okay.
Sarah will be able to find him. She can find anyone that she has bitten. Of course, that means you need to find Sarah. Not your only option, but an option.
On to hell, right?
I'm not sure.
Paperwork, you think he could have left a how-to guide or something?
Oh, I'm sure he did somewhere in the mass of
You really
records.
need an assistant or something.
Yeah. Maybe I'll steal one of Mac's interns.
Now, they do a really good job.
They have to.
Correct.
Mac is a hard ass.
Yes.
Okay, so cool. I'll just figure out how to connect with the Hellhound.
You say that out loud?
Yeah.
How to train your hellhound.
And you say that with your thoughts focused on Sarah as you let the words leave your lips. And that mark on your shoulder illuminates.
I probably don't notice because
Yeah.
it's
You
on my
don't see
shoulder.
it. And Brutus and Eric's hear that howl. But this time it's a longer, more guttural, deeper howl as it turns into a growl.
Good time to mention I've got this howl in my head.
Oh, you can wait.
Wait, you both have the howl in your head.
I have.
Sometimes we
What?
get each other's thoughts and
Yeah.
memories. It's a thing.
Why?
Well,
do I want to?
Yeah, why, Brutus?
Does
So
that
one
what it means to
time-
be somebody's soulmate?
No,
Sometimes.
Sometimes? Okay.
So my friend who lives in my head helped me grab Terex.
Your what
so-
now?
My friend who lives in my head.
You have a friend who lives in your head.
It's all in the files somewhere.
I put a report in.
And there is a
I'm missing the
crackling.
report.
And there is a shudder. And the door that you've come in through and you shut it, you hear a rumbling from outside of it.
Oh shoot.
And so
I guess
Tara
I
looks
can,
over at the door and looks back at all of you.
Oh, let's get up. Let's get up and look.
I suppose I can get it. It's my office. And don't rush yourselves. And Oops is gonna go.
Because I was Russian.
Is that our job?
So Oops, yeah, you go and you get the door first.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's my office.
And you open it up. And as you look out,
Casual pit of hell.
there is darkness. And there is fire in the distance. And there are several different howls in the distance. And this is no longer outside your office.
Oops is gonna, holding the door, turn back to the party and be like, "Well, look at that. Don't see that every day."
No, I'm walking toward the open door.
Did you want some new interior decorating? You wanted to change things up besides just the paperwork, right?
Just dump the paperwork in there, maybe. No, I think you should go find the dog. That's what I think.
Ruby
you
like
should
looks
do.
at the paperwork, looks okay, leaves the paperwork.
I promise I will take care of the paperwork, Ruby.
Take care.
Crosses fingers behind.
You're not even reading the reports. You worked so hard on those.
I told you not to.
It's only been a week.
All right.
I'm standing in the doorway, and is there like a ground to step on?
Yeah, it opens out to just you would call it a wasteland if you could see amongst all of the what look like just black clouds moving along the floor's level, and in the distance you can see gates.
Place is sick as fuck.
I'm
I'm walking.
And you step on out.
Anybody
Anyone
else?
Yeah, let's go. Right.
With the hiccup. Hiccup?
He looks at the group, looks out the door, just okay. And he
Come on.
just makes his way out.
Hiccup, look, we've already gone to hell and back. We can do it once more. This one looks a little nicer, actually.
If you say so. Depends on your definition of hell, I guess.
It's just a joke. Come on.
Oh, I missed that one. And he makes his way out.
And
Ruby will follow last.
finally you all step out.
All right, kids, have fun.
Bye.
What if your office just stays here? Okay.
And
Blam.
does Oops shut the door?
Yeah.
Cool.
I hope that door is just
And there
still
is a
there, just
crackling
chilling.
sound outside your door, Oops,
Oops is gonna open the door again.
and it's back to your office.
Yeah, saw that coming. They'll figure it out. And then Oops is gonna look at the paperwork on her desk.
I want a union.
Right?
Two.
Oh no!
And-
As soon as the world is not in immediate peril, we'll get started on that.
And you have set foot on what you believe to be plains of hell, or wherever it is Sarah comes from. As that howl comes again, this time you can all hear it as it's calling to you. And the only bit of light that seems to be coming is from the fires in the distance, the flames licking off of your leader's skin and hair, and the faint light coming off of that tattoo on your neck, that new mark you have, and a bit of glowing light from your fallen star. And that is where we'll end this week. Whew.
Just ignore me and Grim chanting Avernus over here.
Yeah.
Listen, I fucking love playing in Avernus, so let's fucking go.
Marcel?
I have to end it there, and I have to ignore it because somebody's waking up. And as Abram crawls out of his coffin, newly healed and ready, he approaches over to a desk, and on it sits a book. Lots of notes, sections marked. And as he grabs the front cover, he peels it open. And it's written in a variety of languages. Some of it seems even he can't decipher. He continues marking down things. And he crosses over a section. And tattoo magic is outlaid in this book. How to, and the possibilities. And as he compares it to some notes he has, you can see that things were definitely altered. That the recipe given out was not the complete recipe from the book. And as he begins thumbing through more sections, towards the back of the book, as he begins jotting down notes on another page about something, see something scribbled in the corner. Gravicon sends its regards. He sets a piece of paper over that section and begins taking notes on a different area, as it means nothing to him. And he got what he needed, and he shuts the book.